Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Jen.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I am so happy to be back here this week. Hi, I'm Dr. Cecelia, pediatric occupational therapist.
And I am Jennifer, a mom with disabilities. So that's how we connect.
Amazing. So, tonight we're going to be talking a lot about disability awareness. But before we get into the topic tonight, Jen, let's talk about last week. It was a great week to be off.
It was a great week. We headed up to a national park and it was, I loved every second of it. My kids were able to see bears and just various different species. So they loved it. They got to see the water, the mountains. It was beautiful.
So where did you guys end up going?
We went to the Great Smoky Mountains.
Wow, that's in Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yes, yes, and it was fantastic. It was a great open area to let the kids be themselves.
Nice. Was it like a camp or did you plan it yourself?
Oh, no, I planned it myself, and it was just a regular cabin where we were able to decide activities that best fit for that day.
Okay. So how many days did you all stay there?
We stayed there for, I want to say 3 days, and it was great. It was short and sweet, is what I would say.
Okay, nice. Yeah, 3 days out of spring break
Yeah.
is normally pretty good. So what would you say your kids benefited most from?
Um, what did they benefit most from? I would say their stemming toys that they usually have in the car. That was great to help them regulate having to sit for a couple of hours, and then we were had a chance to talk about time and time management because that kept coming up. Be there, and that was like an every 9 minute thing. So we talked about uh, being able to decide, because when you say 5 minutes to them, it's literally a second and they're asking you again. So just understanding the concept of time is was
So,
something that we touched on.
yeah, so you were having the are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Conversation.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, we've been like on 85 yet. And they were like, "Are we there yet?" And I was like, "No, we just left,
Did,
actually."
did were you able to use any specific strategies to help them understand, okay, um, the time aspect of the trip? Were you able to think of any strategies, or did you just wing it like most parents, like, no, we're not there yet? Were you like, or did
No,
you implement anything?
yep. So we're in a great day and age to where we have navigations, and so I did identify and said, when this time is going down, it it just means that we're getting closer, and this is that, and that was the mileage. So, and but then I showed them that the time was something that was different, and then sometimes it would go up when we would hit traffic, so it would increase, and then they would get really bummed out. So it almost turned out into be like a game where they were both watching it. Um, but I would say, as far as a strategy, that would be visual. Is just really what works for us, is just having that visual concept. And then having timers is really helpful. So just helping them know that, when the timer rings, then we get to stop by, some fast food place and grab fries. So that was something that we also did. So it was the first and then sort of tidbit that we did.
Amazing, amazing. And that's a great tip for parents out there listening who, if your child has the ability to understand, well, to use the visuals,
Right.
and typically most kids are able to do this, instead of, you having those crying and whining and the constant, are we there yet? you can use, as Jen so wisely did, was really use the navigation system to show the time, because the navigation system normally shows you your estimated arrival time, the amount of miles before you get there, the different turns that you have to make. So there are so many different things within the navigation that you can use to engage your child while traveling on a road trip. So that's amazing. That's really amazing.
Another thing that I would suggest would be like if you have children that are just not wanting to listen to rules, I think that getting in the car, putting in a navigation, and having Siri talk to you and navigate you is helpful because it helps them understand. Like my oldest child is constantly saying, "Well, you're always telling me what to do." But we need something else to guide us and tell us where to go, and so that was an example that I gave, is if I keep taking the wrong turn, I'm not going anywhere, and that happens a lot. We keep going in circles, so just listen for the direction, and then at some point in life you will be able to make your own decisions, but right now I'm here to help and make things easier. So that is something that I'd actually seen that in a Bluey episode. So that's what gave me that idea that navigations tell us what to do, and if not, then you're just going to keep going in circles, and that's a good way to show the kids that someone's the boss and it's not you. So,
And taking advice, if you want to get something, if you want to get somewhere, taking advice from someone who knows how to get there. So that's a great lesson to
yeah.
use and a great tool. Like, yes, the
Yeah.
navigation says turn right here in 1 mile. Like, we're going to follow those rules because
Yeah.
the navigation knows where to go. We don't know where to go.
Mhm.
And if we want to get there, we have to follow the rules. These are the rules. It's telling us in 1 mile, we need to turn right. And in order to get to where we need to get to, we have to follow the directions. We have to follow instructions.
Yeah.
Another great tip for parents.
Yeah.
Amazing. Following the
Awesome.
rules.
One other thing is just if your guys are going on road trips, and you have a child that is likes control and to hold tangible things, is I would print those navigation steps and then have them cross it out as you're going. Um, and you don't have to be the one to tell them, but if they're listening to the navigation, then they're able to, make that choice to cross it off or put stickers on it, which whatever they choose. But I think that there's always a way to work with what we have.
Yes. But you know what, Jen? You are so resourceful in thinking of all these things to really help you get through, but also being able to share it with other parents that we can use what we have and make a game out of it. And it's funny because that's what we used to do before all these gadgets that we have in our day and age growing up or whatever. We played games based on what we had available to us because
Hmm.
we didn't have access to all this games online or handheld games. So that's an amazing game. Like, print it out beforehand, and as you hear the instructions being read, you can check mark it, put a line through it, put an X next to it. And that way the child is engaged and
Yeah.
not sitting there stimming or having a fit or constantly badgering mom and dad about when are we going to get there? How long is this going to take? There is something tangible in their very hands that can help them. One, it's given them those self-regulation
Right.
um, tips because they can literally follow along with the instructions, understand that they're going the right way,
Yeah.
and make it into a game. So yeah, that is so cool. It's
Awesome.
tonight we planned on talking about how uh, how to help our kids be aware of their weaknesses, of their strengths, and sometimes even to be aware of their disabilities. And I don't like it to be wherein we are um, focusing on a child's disability, because I always believe that we should focus on a child's strengths. But there are times when children need to learn about their disabilities and to be able
Yeah.
to articulate it and communicate it to others so others can understand their disabilities as well. So tonight we're going to really delve into that, Jen. So what is your thoughts on helping kids be aware of their disabilities?
Yeah, I think that that is important. It is important that you build up that strength, if you will. You let them know, you plant the seed early and you let it grow and give them the opportunity to ask questions, and like you said, be able to articulate what they're feeling when they hear it, because it's a part of who they are. I mean, it is who they are. It is what you see when they first walk into the room. You you can hear it, you can sense it in these kids, and that's totally okay. That's who they are. So it's just about helping the child understand that, yeah, you're a bit different, but you're cool also. Everyone's
Yeah.
different. The same.
And for a long time, and within certain cultures, having disabilities has been a stigma. A lot of parents, grandparents, family members, they don't want to accept that their loved one their has a disability. And I am hoping that with our community that we're building, that we can help change that.
Yes. Yes. And statistically, it is proven that there are a lot of divorces because of the stress. And in my case, it was that their father just wasn't accepting of the diagnosis and wanted to find a fault. And I couldn't carry that. I needed to help and be proactive. So we separated, but yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big thing. Not just with parents, but it's with grandparents, depending on the culture that you're from. I mean, there's so much that goes into this. But we're building a community, so you're able to come here and feel safe, because that's what we want.
Do you have any ideas of how we can start talking to parents, family members about the stigma? Like how can we start reducing it? Like what can we start doing? Like, because I want for everyone to be able to know ways and have tools as to how we can start reducing some of the stigma that's associated with a child having a disability.
Yeah, I think that we're doing now just by building this community. It is happening right in front of us. It's just building people that are connecting people that are going through similar situations, that know exactly what it's like to not get invited to birthday parties, or not be able to have a birthday party because you don't have anyone to invite, because children are outcast, or whatever you want to call it. Um, Not having play dates, it's hard, and moms need to find a group of people where they feel safe expressing these challenges, because every day it is a challenge. It's an everyday struggle.
Right. And
um
you know what, with every child with a disability, or with all people, for every weakness we have strengths, right? And
yes.
most of us have more strengths than weaknesses, right? And
Right.
it's the same for our children who might have a diagnosis. And sometimes some of these diagnoses like autism and ADHD, they actually come with superpowers, like, and if we can just focus on the strengths and these superpowers and building up these children and these parents understand that your child may be different, but your child is not broken. Like, there's nothing for you to be ashamed of as it pertains to your child having disability. I
Yeah.
think that's that's going to be a great step. So for all the parents who are listening tonight, on the first episode, I shared a story, or it's a poem, "Welcome to Holland," where and the poem is about a mom having a child with a disability, wherein they likened it like the mom wanted to go to Paris, but instead she ended up in Holland. And what the story is saying is that, yes, Paris has great sights and it's beautiful, and you were expecting to be in Paris with when you have your child, you're expecting to have the feelings of all the wonderful things that Paris has. But then you have a child with a disability, and now you're feeling, goodness, I did not get to Paris. But as the poem goes on to say, you didn't get to Paris, you got to Holland. But guess what? Holland also has beautiful sights and good weather and all the wonderful things, the same things that Paris has, just in a different way. And that's what we need to look at when we have children with disabilities, is that they might be different in some ways, but they're actually having more strengths and more beautiful in different ways. And I can
Right.
tell a lot, like, for a lot of kids with autism, to me, those are the most purest children who are going to say it as it is, right? They're going to be so truthful. They're not going to sugarcoat it for you. They're going to tell you straight as they see it, right? And
Right.
to me, that is such a strength. That is such an amazing thing for for kids, and to be able to know that, if this kid says it is so, and that's how they perceive it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a
It
beautiful
is.
thing.
And in my opinion, children spectrum are, when they love with everything. They love blindly. And it's just so beautiful. Like my child always the good in everything, no matter what. And I just find that to be a beautiful strength that he has.
Yes, all children have strengths. So parents, don't focus on the disability. Let's focus on building your child to have a successful life. Just focus on giving them what they need to thrive. The disabilities, don't let that hold them back. And I have noticed in my years of working with children with disabilities, when parents hold their child with a disability to the same, um what's the word, but like following the same
Standard.
rules, the same standards as your non-disabled child, the outcomes are normally better. Like,
Yeah.
don't like, one, don't placate the kid because they have a disability. You allow them to get away with behaviors that you wouldn't have allowed your typically developing child to get away with, right? Or you say, oh, because you have a disability, you can't do something, or you won't be able, like, hold your child that has a diagnosis to the same exact standard as you would have held any other child. Children will always rise to the expectations. And so it's okay.
Yep. It's
Just let
very
your
similar.
child be.
Yeah, it's very similar to when you cook a new food or you want them to try a new food, and it's just taking that initial bite. And so that's what I do with my kids, where it's like it's new, it's different for sure, but if it's something like soccer, just kick the ball once and see how you feel. And them doing that just once is enough for me. But it's like at least you tried it, and make sure to take a picture, and and let them know that this is a very proud moment, and I'm so proud of you. And that's all you had to do was that, but it's like a shot, and it's holding them to that same standard. So giving everything a try, I think it's very important.
Yes. And understanding too that yes, your child might have a disability and may not do it to the standard. Say, for example, kicking the ball. Your child might be able to only kick the ball 6 inches away
Yep.
from his body, right? It's okay. He still kicked the ball. And
Mhm.
what we want to do is celebrate the little wins that
Yes.
we get.
Yeah, build that character, build that confidence. There are so many people in this world, especially kids, that are going to want to knock them down for being different because
Mhm.
they don't understand it. So it's like if you when you do have the opportunity, please praise them for doing for existing, just for being so cool, just for being them. I think that that's very important. They go through a lot, a lot.
Right. And if they do try something that they were hesitant to try, award that as well, because that is a change in behavior that you just opted on because you you allow them to see that it's worth a try. Don't resolve in yourself to say, "Oh, I can't do it," you know? So we're here to cheer on the parents, and and the parents are here to cheer on the kids, and we have to cheer each other on. We have to be there as support. Because it's this when your child has more confidence, whether your child is typically developing or your child has challenges or your child has a disability, for every child out there, self confidence.
Right.
Self confidence will make a big, big difference. And it starts with mindset, right? So we as the adults, we work on our mindset so that we can help our children develop the mindset that they need to pursue success in their lives.
And it's helping them with building success. It's helping them not be pessimistic or negative, have a negative outlook on life, but having a positive outlook because at some point they're grow up and so on, and they're going to get married and date, or date and get married, and they're they might not like it, but I'll give you an example. My youngest one loves eggs. My oldest one hates them and won't sit at the table. My youngest one has eggs, but we break through that. And that's what I said to him is, what if your likes eggs? What if your likes eggs? Are you not going to sit down with her? It's okay to not like it. It's not on your plate. Just ignore and focus on something else. Think about any or watch, anything. But let's learn to build that resilience that although someone else at the table won't eat, it's okay. So it's helping them, preparing them for success. Uh, and that's in every way.
And I totally agree with that because it's showing them that people have differences. And you don't have to focus on what the other person is doing. And you might not like what the other person is doing.
Right.
However, focus on you and your likes and your strengths and your needs. Focus on that. Don't get caught up about what the other person is doing. And so allow the other person to be free to
Right.
do what they enjoy doing. He likes eggs. Please let him eat his eggs
Yep.
without you. You don't like eggs. You don't have eggs on your plate. You don't have to worry about that. So
Right.
that's really a good concept to teach children. Like,
Yes.
don't worry about what your friend is doing over there. Don't worry about what your sibling is doing. Your sibling likes doing that. Your friend likes doing that. That's not what you like doing. I get that. So Let your friend enjoy what they like doing so that you can enjoy. But you don't want your friend to stop you from enjoying what you like to do. So we give them the same respect. So we're teaching them to accept others for who they are in the same way that they have to accept themselves for who they are, you know? And so with that, I was thinking, it's very important for children to know themselves, right? To
Yes.
know their and understand their own disabilities. Have you how have you dealt with your personal children and having them understand that what their diagnosis is and how it presents in the world and what how they can deal with having the diagnosis. Have you had conversations about making them aware of their disabilities?
Yeah, so actually COVID opened the door to that. And so it opened the door to having conversations about going through different things and everyone, just being different. And so he was young at the time, but I did sit him down and I explained to him that he's been diagnosed with autism and that he doesn't go to general education, that he goes to a different classroom and he has uh, his activities and that they're different, but that they're tailored to his needs. And that he has so many strengths and he can do so much. And so to answer your question to how I prepared that conversation, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. There are a lot of documentaries about people being on the spectrum that you can watch. Love on the Spectrum is one of them. It's on Netflix. Really talk about what you go through having disabilities and the bullying and those feelings. And so this past weekend on Saturday, we watched Love on the Spectrum together. And I asked him, I said, "Is that how you feel?" When someone brought up a feeling, and he said yes, and then we paused it and we talked about it. So it's just finding those things where it's someone else, it's like finding a third party where they can talk about it, and then you can say, well, how would you feel? Or uh I guess to sum it all up, it's emotional intelligence that I try to teach my children. um he actually does say, he'll go, my name is William and I have autism. And he went through
Okay,
a period where he would that he would introduce himself like that.
right. Okay. So have you, with him saying, I have autism, does
Yes.
he understand what having autism means? Or like, what does that mean to him?
What does that mean to him? He says that it means that he's different.
Mm,
And I explained to him that everyone's different.
hmm.
But yes, I don't think that he can verbalize what he actually thinks that it means. I don't think that we're at that place yet, but we're definitely heading there by, just like I said, watching documentaries or movies that talk about things like this, and going out of my way to watch those things with him so that he can understand that he's not alone either. There's a community
Right,
out there.
right. So I really commend you for trying to explain to your child what his diagnosis is and what it means. But I know that, and I know him, and I've known you for a while, and I know that there are times when he has actually come up to you and say, I do this and I don't know why I do this, right? Or
Yeah.
um because I remember and he's come up to you and said, "Hey, I'm having a hard time sitting down. Can you help me?" Like he has shared those things, and I remember being so excited when you told me that he said some of those things. Like every time that you would tell me that he has expressed how he's feeling and actually asking for some help because he understands that he's not feeling optimally or he's not functioning optimally in school or around his friends or in family gatherings. Like he knows something is off, right? He can't
Yes.
articulate it and say, oh, because I have autism, I do this. He can't do that yet. But he is becoming aware
Yes.
of his own body and his own mind. So that is a great, great step for children when they start saying to parents, I'm feeling this. And for parents out there who are listening, your child might not have a diagnosis, but pay attention when your child comes to you and tells you what they are feeling or what is going on. Because I've had, well, for example, just take it for example, a child who comes to the parent and says, you know what? When I'm looking at the board, I see things floating in the air, and it looks like the words are jumping off the board. Like, take these things seriously, right? Your child comes
Yes.
and gives you and tells you something that's happening. You might want to say, you might ask a few more questions, but also you might say, "Oh, you haven't. Tell me more. What's happening? Does this happen when you're reading a book, or um, when do you feel like the letters are not staying on the page?" Or, and then you might want to talk to your optometrist, right?
Right.
Because something might be going on with their vision. Your
Yep.
child comes to you and be like, "Oh, I can't focus. I keep falling asleep in class." Um, Again, listen to your child, because your child is becoming aware of things that are happening, and they're understanding that um, this is not supposed to be that way. So it's important that you listen to your child, and you help your child as well if your child does have a known diagnosis, to be more aware of their behaviors or of things, that their internal sensations, so that we can, the more they become aware, the better it is for us as parents to be able to address um,
Yep.
those things.
Yep. So it goes back to seeing your children, listening to your children, and recognizing them because they have feelings. They know what's going on, and they're get praise them for trying to articulate these different emotions that they go through. Because it might not seem like a lot, but like I can tell when my kids are stressed out about something in school that's going on in school because we tend to think, well, they don't have that much going on, or it's not like they pay bills, but in their little world they have a lot going on. So
Absolutely.
it's just about having those conversations with them and having them feel accepted, heard, listened to, just all of the good feelings that we get when people support us and listen to us. We need to be able to be that support system to them. That way in the future when something does happen, they are able to come and help.
Right.
I'm sorry, they're
And the
able to
more,
come and talk to you so that you can help them.
yeah, I got you. And going back to the whole stigma thing, if we let our children who may have been diagnosed with autism or ADHD or learning disability understand that with these diagnoses, sees come certain symptoms or characteristics, then after a while we can normalize these, right? We can
Yeah.
normalize these, and that stigma will go away.
Hmm.
Like for so long, we had it where little boys were being told that they were bad, and
Hmm.
um they just can't, they can't sit still, and some kids were even getting there was a time that kids were getting suspended from school, or asked to leave the daycare, right? Like, oh, you can't come back. um and there was this stigma about it, and people like, what's wrong with this kid? But now that we're finding out, there's so many, especially boys, from an early age is diagnosed with ADHD. So that stigma that was around that little boy who couldn't sit still, or that little boy who gets kicked out of daycare, or parents are like struggling, like, "Ooh, I can't let anybody know my baby got kicked out of daycare. I mean, he's only in daycare, he's getting kicked out already."
Yeah,
Like, we now know that chances are that child has neurodiversity, right? They're different. Their neurological system is different. And so luckily we have diagnoses now of ADHD that we can get our children diagnosed earlier. So a lot of this, one, will help to reduce the stigma associated with having a disability, and also two, help families to understand that these characteristics are now becoming more normalized, and they can look for help. There are a lot of services, professionals out there, and as well as there is the IEP process that can help to support these children who are having difficulties based on diagnosed and undiagnosed conditions.
that's right. So it's about listening, being aware, and helping, giving them the tools to be able to regulate themselves and their emotions, and all of their movements, even, because some children on the spectrum can get violent, meaning like they enjoy throwing things, so they just need something with their hands. So that could be something, like Lego sets that they can do. So there's so many different things that you can give your children. If you see that and they enjoy throwing things or putting things in their mouth, then you give them a special thing. So listen, be aware, and just support them. 'Cause there's nothing wrong with them, like if they want to sit in a particular chair, then the teacher should provide the chair. You should be an advocate for your child and say they just want to sit in the chair. It's really not a big deal, and we shouldn't match their energy. They're just kids.
Right. And a lot of kids on the spectrum, they that throw in the say they're throwing things or chewing on things, it's not necessarily a bad behavior. It's a sensory seeking
Yes.
behavior, right? So they're throwing things because they want to get that sensation from their muscles and joints, or they're chewing on things because chewing helps to calm them, as well as provide that sensation orally for them. So again, being aware of the behaviors that are associated with particular diagnoses is important. It's important for the parents to know, it's important for the teachers to know, and it's important for us to teach the child that although you like throwing things for that sensation, or you like chewing on certain things for that sensation, those are not appropriate behaviors. So instead of doing that, here, as you said, Jen, build with some Legos, push them together so you can get that feeling. Or here is some Play-Doh, smash it on the table and build something with it. Like, really teaching our kids how to turn those inappropriate behaviors into more appropriate behaviors. And that's going to come with guidance from the adults. So it's important for the adults to really, really, if you don't, as an adult and as a parent, if you don't know what to do, reach out to your resources
Right.
to help you. Ask the teacher, ask there you can reach, you could come to us, and ask us questions. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. I can give you a lot of information, as well as I have a host of other professionals that I work with, that I can get information for you from them. For what I don't know, I'll research and I'll get back to you. But this show that we have here every Tuesday night at 7:30 is about where we come together and we start asking questions, and we're going to be having other professionals on a weekly basis, so that we can start delving into a whole host of other areas of helping children with special needs. So as we grow as a community, we'll have more resources, we'll have more ideas and strategies to share with parents, because that's the ultimate goal of this. We want to be able to help parents help their kids.
That's right. It is a community,
Absolutely.
building a support system and that will help the child, it'll help you have a better day. Everyone is successful. It's a good day when everyone's having a good day.
Absolutely.
And being
Absolutely.
able to turn days around, because it is possible. You can turn it around. And encouraging that is huge.
And knowledge is power, right? So the more we know, the better we can do. So we might not know it today, um, but we learn it and then we can apply it.
That's right.
So that's amazing. So when when we have our children struggling, it's the hardest things for parents to just watch their children struggle. And for some children, it's easier to help them apply the strategies. And for some children, it's going to be wherein the adult has to really take the full on load, depending on the nature of the disability that the child has. But for those children where we can help them help themselves, we want to aim for that. That needs to be our primary aim, to help our children to independently be able to turn their day around, right? Instead of us, the adult, always having to do it.
Yep.
So we have to really make that a priority. And so to be able to teach the child how to turn it around, we first have to help the child be aware,
Yes.
self-awareness.
Yes. Yes. Self-awareness is huge. And also for parents, being able to take a moment to just breathe yourself, it's totally okay. You don't have to handle it right in that moment. It's probably not even best. Just take a moment, and if you need to go cry in the closet or cry in the bathroom, you're okay. You're okay to feel those feelings because it's hard. It's so hard. I've done it so many times where I just go to the closet, I cry, and then I'm just like, okay, now I've got to go fight this battle. But I'm taking care of myself first. It's like being on an airplane where they tell you that you have to put on your oxygen mask first before you can help someone else. Take that with you. You cannot say what you need to say to make the situation better when you're feeling so much frustration inside.
Yeah, the parents, remember that. Take care of yourself first. Deal with your mental state first. Deal with your self-regulation first,
Yes.
because that's important. You cannot help your child when you are burnt out and despondent and just feel like the world is crazy. So take a moment for yourself first. Take a moment um, to just breathe or just cry, as Jen say. If you need to cry, just cry and then regroup and then tackle whatever the situation is uh, ahead. And also too, understand that nothing happens like overnight. Sometimes it's trial and error. Sometimes it's just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again until it sticks. And if it's something that you know will eventually work, don't give up on it, especially when it comes to behavioral strategies. If you're trying to change a behavior, um, you have to be consistent. You can't do something today and then don't do it tomorrow, or you can't say something is going to be a consequence and then not follow through on it.
Yeah,
So it's hard work.
it is hard
It's
work.
hard work.
And make sure to reach out to whomever is working with your child, so the teachers, anyone, and use the same language, use the same exact strategies, because consistency is key. I was reached out to today because my child did something in school, and so my first question was, okay, what language did you use, so that I can go home and when we address it, I can use the same thing, and then he's hearing it twice, or however many times, and then he's going to catch something out of it. They're smart kids, so just using that same language and having them understand that we're all talking and we're all connected. It is not, whomever is the boss in school, or, wherever they go, and then mommy's the boss at home, or whomever their caregiver is. It shouldn't be that way. We're all talking and we're all aware about what happened. So it's holding them accountable. You have to. They're smart kids. I promise you.
They're very smart, very,
Yes.
very smart. And when they understand, and they will quickly understand that, oh, mommy and teacher and daddy and after school and Nana was coming over and everybody is speaking the same language, they get it.
Mm-hmm.
They understand it because
Mm-hmm.
they will quickly realize when the teacher is against the parent, or the
Yes.
parent is against the teacher, or Nana is against mommy. They will quickly understand that.
Right.
So it's best for us, if we're working as a team. We're all a team. We're using the same language. We're not going to allow, if there's a behavior that we're trying to address, we're not going to allow it at school. If we don't want it at home, we're not going to allow it over at Nana's house, and then try to implement the strategies at home. No, everybody needs to be on board. We all
Yes.
have to be on board, and that's the best way. Consistency is the best teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You get results with consistency.
And it's not just with bad behaviors, but also with good behaviors. So,
Hmm.
over break, before break, we had a couple of behaviors, and I let his teacher know to remind him that if he wanted to go watch the Minecraft movie, he was going to have to pull it together. And so, that registered, and he buckled up. He was like, "Oh yeah, I want to go watch the Minecraft movie." And he turned it around. But if I didn't have that communication with the teacher, then she wouldn't know what to say other than like, "Here's a Skittle." But it's like, okay, well, then I'll just have to text your mom or email your mom and let her know that you're not doing well. So that's been helpful, having so I over communicate with our teachers, and I love that. I love that I'm willing and that they're willing to work with me. um I think that it's important in getting the behaviors to subside.
Absolutely. Well, tonight we covered stigma and trying to reduce that, wherein having a disability doesn't make your child any less than. Having a disability doesn't deter your child's success in life.
Right.
And the quicker we normalize symptoms and characteristics that are associated with behaviors instead of stigmatize them, the better we'll be as a society.
Exactly.
because this world is made up of all kinds of minds, and we need that diversity in our society. And children with disability just adds to the fabric of our society. I wouldn't be the therapist I am if there weren't kids with disabilities, right?
Right.
Because they make my life, right? They make my life and they make my livelihood. um yes, nobody gets pregnant and say, oh, I can't wait to have a child with a disability. But at the end of the day, children with disability are precious, just as precious as any other child. um and we can help our children with disabilities once they learn about their disability, they understand what their disability is about, and symptoms that they will experience and obstacles that they will experience by having a disability, and by them having the tools to be able to help navigate some of those obstacles, or to help promote their strengths in different areas, then we know our children can thrive. So we really, really, really want to stress that it's important to destigmatize disability and to promote our children to be able to do whatever it is they're able and capable of doing. And we
Mhm.
also want to help our children to the ones who are, well, all children, but more so the ones who are verbal and can communicate, to self-advocate, to advocate for themselves. We really, really, really want to get that. And as Jen was saying, like her son is beginning to advocate for himself as he gets older, right? So as he gets older, he's now saying, hey, I have autism. And he's beginning to understand, you know what, certain things I notice is difficult for me. And guess what? There's certain things that he's really, really good at as
Yes.
well.
Yes. So just helping your child be who they're meant to be is the objective here.
Right. And we're going to celebrate our kids. We're going to
Yep.
celebrate our kids. We're going to teach our kids to advocate for themselves. We're going to teach each other to be empathetic. We're going to teach other children to understand that other kids are different. They do different things. They like different things. They speak different. They walk different. They play different. But at the end of the day, they're just kids who want to do what kids like to do. And we're going to promote that.
Awesome. I'm so happy to be a part of this.
All right. So, helping your child understand their disability isn't about fixing them. It's about loving them enough to give them the truth and helping them see the value in every part of who they are. So
That's
that is my final message for tonight. Jen, what's your take tonight?
I love everything about tonight. I think again it's just be letting your children be who they were meant to be, who they were placed on this earth to be. And I'm just happy to be here for the parents and help them, regulate their own emotions. So I appreciate it all. Thank you all for listening.
And Jen, I thank you so much for being on this journey with me and sharing your perspective as a parent,
Yeah.
because your perspective is so vital to parents. And you're able to show them that yes, there are hard times, but there's such other great, great moments in having two children with disabilities. Or your babies are, they're just so much fun and full of life and vibrancy and all the good things that children are, despite having disabilities. So not because your child has a disability means that your life has to be any less rich.
That's right. It is
All
rich
right.
in love and health.
Absolutely. So I will see you guys next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. We'll be live again. Next Tuesday, we'll have a special guest on who will be sharing many, many resources that's available to families and children with disabilities. So make sure you tune in next week, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. And for now, have a good night, y'all, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you all, and please like and subscribe and share our content. Thank you.
Absolutely. Like
Bye.
and subscribe and share. Don't forget.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.